You know, when I told my children that I wasn't going to be talking to Douglas Fairbanks tonight, that instead I was going to be talking to you, they were absolutely thrilled. They said, Darth Vader? Actually, one of them said Darth Vader, and the other one said the Green Cross Man.
Marvelous.
Which do you prefer to be known as?
I like both, actually. And it's very interesting because when I became Darth Vader, or at least when the Star Wars film came out, I almost got the sack from the government because they thought that my image as Darth Vader would have a detrimental effect on my image as the Green Cross Code Man. But in fact, the reverse has been the case.
Well, I must say, you do look slightly different in both roles, to say the least. How did you get this amazing part in Star Wars?
Well, I'd had a long history of playing monsters.
I see.
I was playing Frankensteins, and I started at Casino Royale, then I went to the Horror of Frankenstein, then I went to Vampire Circus, then I finished up with doing a film called Frankenstein and the Monster from Hell. And I think George Lucas had seen these pictures and wanted somebody very big and physical for the part in Star Wars. And when he saw me, I went up to the 20th Century Fox offices in London.
Right.
And he said, well, I've got two parts which I'd like you to consider. And I said, well, what are they? And he said, well, the first one's a character called Chewbacca. And I said, well, what's Chewbacca? And he said, well, it's like a hairy-type gorilla that goes through the film on the side of the goodies. And I said, well, I don't fancy that very much, George. And I said, what's the other one? And he said, well, the other one's a character called Darth Vader, who's the big villain of the film. And I said, well, look, don't say any more, George. I'll take the villain's part. And that's how it all came about.
Ah, that's... Yeah. I think there's a friend of yours trying to tell you something here.
Oh,
and he's
R2.
not playing music either.
R2-D2, yeah.
That's really a marvellous machine.
It is, actually, yeah.
How many of them?
Actually, there are two. There are two R2-D2 units. One of which is the one which Kenny Baker goes in.
Yes.
And the other one is a totally remote-controlled R2-D2 unit. It can do everything but rock. And it can't rock from side to side.
Oh, I
can't
thought you meant rock. I thought it danced.
And it can't stand up on tiptoes. And so when they want it to stand up on tiptoes or rock to side, they put Kenny Baker inside.
Listen, didn't you train Superman to do some of his amazing stunts?
No, I didn't train him to do any of his stunts, but I built him up.
You built him up? Was he a 7-stone weakling?
No, not a 7 stone. He was 13. Actually, he was 13 stone when he came to me.
Yes.
And I tried to get the part of Superman myself. And it was no go because
you wanted to play it.
I wanted to play it. Yeah.
Flying around from those buildings.
Myself as Superman, most definitely. I got the glasses, and I got the navy blue suit. Yeah.
I bet you looked great in the tights.
Yeah, but it was because I wasn't an American. It was out, you see. So they eventually found Chris Reeve. And rang me up one day and said, look, can you train him for us? And I said, well, what do you want him to look like? And they said, well, we want him to look like you. So I said, well, I'm about 19 stone and he's about 13 stone. And I said, well, how long have I got to do the job? And they said, well, 6 weeks. Oh. And I said, well, it's impossible. You can't do anything in 6 weeks. And in fact, we did.
Was he nice to work with?
Oh, super. Absolutely super. Worked very, very hard. And I got him from just over 13 stone to 15 stone 7 in 6 weeks.
That's very good.
And he looked
I
great
understand that you also trained Edward Heath, our former Prime Minister. What did you train him to do?
Well, no, he was going through a phase where he wanted to lose weight. I think he still wants to lose weight, but he was getting quite serious about losing weight. And he came into my gymnasium,
and he felt it was going to improve his image.
No, not so much improve his image, but I think he was concerned about being unfit and being overweight.